Hello everyone, here I am going to give small introduction to keys which are temporary fasteners. Introduction to key joints which are temporary fasteners, you can say. Temporary in sense, whenever you want you can disassemble it. Okay, so that is the reason this can be called as temporary fasteners. Basically what exactly key is all about. Key is used for locking purpose. Okay, in general, as we all know, keys are used for locking purpose. And when it comes to machine components, in case of machine components, where exactly keys are used? Okay, these are used to prevent relative rotary motion. Okay, between two elements. Keys are used to prevent relative rotary motion. Okay, between two elements. Okay, I just try to draw a simple sketch for that. Let us consider this as the hub portion. Hub is nothing but a hollow component or an element, you can say here. Okay, this is the hub, and let us say this is having a length. The hub will have, okay, and there is a hollow section inside. Circular hole is drilled from one side to the other. Other than this, there is a keyway provided. Okay, there is a keyway provided inside, means a groove is drilled inside this particular hub. Okay, so the idea is I want to insert a shaft, a circular component, okay, where this will be inserted inside the hub and these two will be locked. Okay, where I would like to prevent the relative rotary motion between these two. For example, if both are running, if the hub is running with 2000 rpm, then shaft should also run with the same speed. Okay, if the shaft is running with some speed, hub should also run with the same speed. That is the main idea. So after inserting the shaft inside the hub, these two I would like to lock. I can use a key. I just use a key. Okay, this will help me to lock both the elements, hub and the shaft, which will have width and a thickness followed by the length. Okay, this particular key will have, based on the length, width and thickness of the keyway is provided in the hub. Okay, and it is not compulsory all the time. The keyway is provided only in the hub. In some cases, based on the thickness, T/2 thickness is of keyway is provided in the hub, and T/2 thickness of keyway is also provided in the shaft portion. Okay, in few cases this is also possible. Okay, what are all the cases that we'll discuss in detail. In which case we'll provide a keyway only in the hub, and in what case we'll try to provide keyway both in the hub as well as in the shaft. That discussion we'll see, but try to remember hub look like this, and this is called the shaft. Okay, this is a key, and this we call it as a keyway. This is the terminology that one should remember to understand the question properly before you present it on the sheet conventionally by using a drafter. Alright, now keeping this in mind, now let us try to understand the definition. Key joints are used to prevent relative rotary motion between two elements. What are those two elements? One is the hub and one is the shaft. This is how I have defined. Alright, now coming to the classification point, classification of keys. Let us say classified broadly, keys are classified into two categories. Number one is a saddle key, number 2 is a sunk key. Alright, now further these are subclassified into two types. Saddle keys are subclassified into two types. Number 1 is hollow and number 2 is flat key. Alright, similarly this particular sunk keys, coming to the sunk keys are also classified into three different categories. Number 1 is a taper sunk key. Number 2 is a parallel key. Okay, these parallel keys can also be called as feather keys. And number 3 is a Woodruff key. Okay, these are the basic classification. Coming to keys, these are classified into saddle and sunk keys. Again, saddle keys are subcategorized as hollow and flat, sunk keys as taper, parallel and Woodruff keys. Okay, and whether it is a saddle key or a sunk key, the ultimate aim is to prevent the relative rotary motion between the elements. That is clear. But why these are classified into these many types? Okay, it all depends on the usage of the key. Okay, now these saddle keys are used under low duty applications. Low duty in sense where the loading conditions are not so high, maybe the pressures or forces which the elements are going to take are not so high. So in such area where low duty or low load conditions considered, in such cases saddle keys are used, whereas sunk keys are used in heavy duty applications. These are used in heavy duty applications, okay, which is completely different from the saddle key. Okay, just now I have mentioned keyway. Whenever you talk about keyway is provided in two types. Keyways are provided two types. Number 1, keyway is provided only in hub portion, that is first case. Number 2, the keyway can be provided in both hub as well as in shaft. Means whatever the thickness maintained by the key, 1/2 portion of thickness is taken by the hub and half of the portion is taken by the shaft. Okay, that is the reason sunk keys are much stronger, which can take heavy loads when compared to saddle keys. This is the basic difference. Try to understand the logic. Okay, saddle keys are used in low duty applications, and in both the cases, whether it is a saddle key or a sunk key, proportions are given. Proportions are provided. Proportions in sense, for a diameter of 10 mm, what should be the width and what should be the thickness. For the diameter of 8 mm, what should be the width, what should be the thickness. These proportions are already provided based on the research, based on the design criteria. These are already set. Those proportions are already given to you in your text, where you can go through and try to remember them all. Okay, because in the examination they will only give you the diameter. They will give you the diameter of the shaft, and they'll ask you to draw the conventional representation accordingly. So when diameter is given, you are supposed to know what is the width and what is the thickness of that particular key. That is very much important to understand. Okay, so based on that, if you could remember few proportions accordingly, you can plan what should be the width and what should be the thickness. That is very much important to understand. Alright, and they'll ask you to draw the representation of the key, whether it could be a saddle key or it could be a sunk key. What is the representation means? Coming to the representation point, whenever they give representation, nothing but you are supposed to draw the front view and side view of a key. Try to understand. Okay, a representation nothing but you are supposed to draw the views of that particular object: front view, top view, side view, auxiliary view, okay, bottom view, any other views related, all are called as representations. But in our case, whenever it is a key, you are supposed to draw the front and side view. Okay, so that is what we'll try to do. Means after assembly, when this particular shaft, let us say this portion, this shaft is going to sit in this particular hub, then this is going to take the, this shaft going to occupy the hollow space. After that, the key, I just need to place the key just to lock these two elements. So let us say I have placed the key, then this will appear here. Okay, this key will help to prevent the relative rotary motion between these two elements. Okay, now coming to the taper session of the key, let us discuss about the taper session of this particular key. The top surface is not at all parallel to the bottom surface of the key. Bottom surface is flat, but the top surface is maintaining some taper. Okay, what is this taper? That we'll see. Okay, let me take a fresh window and explain you about the taper. What is a taper? That we'll see. Taper is nothing but, for example, let me draw a simple key here, okay, with some thickness. Okay, now here we call this as the thickness, this side as the width, and this as the length. Fine. Now whatever the thickness maintained in the front will not be maintained in the back side. Means here there will be a taper maintained. Okay, now the taper representation is done with a simple symbol, which is 1:100. Okay, means whatever the thickness maintained initially will not be maintained when it goes throughout the length. It is going to decrease by some number. What is that number? That we need to evaluate. For example, if this is here, top surface is maintaining taper session, which is of 1:100, means for every 10 mm there should be a reduction of 1 mm. For every 10 mm of length, there should be a reduction of 1 mm in the thickness. Means for a length of 100 mm, what should be the reduction? It should be 10 mm. Means, for example, here if it is maintaining a thickness of 10 mm, if the overall length is 10 mm, then there should be a reduction of 1 mm to the other side. That is what taper is all about. Because if you maintain uniform thickness from one side to the other, it becomes very tough to insert the key in between, or to pull the key in between the shaft and the hub. That is the main reason. This is the general condition. But when it comes to conventional representation, at the graduation level, the length will not be maintained very much big. The length will be more or less 20 to 30 mm. Okay, that this much of length is maintained. If it is 20 or 30 mm, if it is 20 mm, you are supposed to reduce by 2 mm. If it is 30 mm, you are supposed to reduce by 3 mm. Try to understand. But this is the general meaning that comes into picture whenever we talk about a taper session. Okay, try to understand this logic. So this is how you need to represent it. Okay, now coming to a saddle key. Saddle key, as I said, these are classified into two types. One is hollow and one is flat. Okay, coming to the hollow saddle key, the key is something like this. Have a look at it. I am going to draw the 3D representation. Bottom, there will be a concave shape. Bottom is not flat, not straight. There will be a concave shape, and a length obviously will be there, and top surface will definitely maintain taper. Try to remember, which is 1:100, means for every 10 there should be a reduction of 1. Okay, this concave shape going to sit upon a shaft. That is the reason what I said in the beginning. Hollow, in case of saddle key, whether it is a hollow or a flat, the keyway is going to taken by the hub, not by the shaft. Okay, this is how the 3D representation of a shaft and a key is going to be something like this. Okay, it is going to sit, means this portion of key, hollow key, is going to sit in the keyway of hub. All right, this is how it is going to be. If it is a flat key, then there will definitely be a flat bottom surface and a length throughout. Alright, this is T, W, L and L. Obviously there will be a taper on the top surface. Alright, and as this is a flat surface, bottom is a flat surface, the shaft top surface where exactly key is going to sit, this top surface, they'll try to make it flat by filing it. Okay, by filing, this is the portion, whatever the length maintained by the key, that portion they supposed to file it, because the bottom flat should be in contact with the top surface of the shaft, because the shaft is containing circumference here. They will file and they'll prepare the shaft in this way. Okay, they'll prepare the shaft in this way, and the key is going to sit over here. Okay, and the complete keyway is taken by the hub only. Okay, hub will take the keyway, complete keyway. This is the main difference of a saddle key. Whether it is a hollow or a flat key, hub is going to take the keyway, complete keyway portion. Okay, whereas this is completely different in case of a sunk key. That is completely different in case of a sunk key, that we'll see now. I'll take a fresh window and let me explain you about a sunk key. As I said, sunk key classification: taper sunk key, parallel or a feather key, and a woodruff key. Okay, so coming to sunk keys, basically, as I said, keyway is provided, both half of the keyway in the hub, half of the keyway in the shaft portion. So that representation I'll try to draw. Let us call this as the hub 3D representation. And this hub will have a hollow section with the keyway up to a length of the key, whatever the length maintained. Okay, then there will be a hollow section from one side to the other. This is how it is going to be. Try to understand. Okay, now whatever the thickness maintained here, whatever the thickness I'm trying to maintain here, this thickness is going to be only T by 2. If the thickness of the key is 10 mm, then you are supposed to take here it as 5 mm groove. Similarly, if I consider a shaft, now remember diameter, now internal diameter of hub is equivalent to the external diameter of shaft. So here there is again a keyway provided of same length. Alright, then extension. This is a shaft which is going to sit in the hub portion. Alright, try to understand. So here it is going to a groove is drilled here, which is again of T by 2 thickness. This is T by 2. So half of the portion of key is taken by the hub, half of the portion is taken by the shaft. Okay, this is what happens in case of a sunk key. That is the reason the key will sit properly in intact, both the elements, hub and the shaft, and take heavy loads. There won't be any chance of skipping out in case of high forces or high load conditions. That is the reason I said sunk keys are used in heavy duty applications. Okay, the best example of heavy duty application is a coupling. In general, couplings are used in turbines, okay, to connect two shafts, shaft coming from the turbine side and one shaft coming from the generator side, where we'll try to clamp both the things, which is going to take heavy torque, heavy speed that we need to transmit. So in such case we'll try to use couplings, okay, and these couplings, both the couplings are clamped with the help of hexagonal nut bolt arrangement. That is fine, but the portion where exactly both the shafts will meet, join together, and the shaft and the coupling, both the sides, both the ends will be fixed with the help of a key, with the help of a sunk key. Try to understand. Okay, this is the best example. A key is used, okay, in all types of couplings. Coupling could be a old arm or a universal or flexible solid. We'll try to use a keyway, okay, and a key. Try to understand. And if you look at the saddle key is used on heavy duties, as I said. Low duty application, sorry, low duty means where you can see the arrangement of a pulley. Okay, I want to mount a pulley on the shaft, so in such case we'll try to use a saddle key or a gear. Okay, in such case we'll try to go with a saddle key. And in case of sunk keys are used in case of big couplings, which will take heavy torque or a heavy speed or rotary movement. Okay, and coming to the 3D representation of taper sunk key, it is going to be of this kind. There will be a length followed by a thickness and a slant edge of 45 degrees and a horizontal. This is how it is going to be, with some width. This is how it is going to be. Alright, and this is the overall width of the key. Okay, now here this is called the thickness, and overall is going to be the length. This is the width, and height. This becomes the height. Now this top end to this bottom, this is height, and there is one more dimension. This is B, we call breadth, from this vertical to the next vertical. This is B. Now all the standard formulas are already given that we need to remember. Okay, what is W, okay, what is B, all the formulas are given to you. Those formulas we should remember, and because in the examination they will give you only the diameter will be given. Accordingly B, W, T, L has to be calculated. Okay, so accordingly you have to do the representation. Similarly, coming to the parallel key, these are of three types. One is peg key. Peg key, nothing but something of this kind. Okay, a cylindrical object integral will be placed. This portion, this cylindrical portion is going to sit in the hub. Okay, this we call it as a gib. Okay, gib headed key. This is a gib headed key. And similarly there is a single headed and a double headed key. If you look at single headed key, that is going to be of this kind. Okay, there will be a head with a hole, which is a through hole. Okay, and after this portion will insert inside the hub, and this is going to stay outside the hub. Okay, and through this particular circular hole we can screw the key to the hub. Okay, this key is screwed to hub. That is the main advantage. So there won't be any scope of releasing it out when it is going to take heavy loads. Okay, so the only difference between these two is gib key or gib headed key is placed before placing the shaft. Okay, this is placed first in the hub. Okay, and the give is going to take the portion, means the same cylindrical feature is provided and drilled in the hub portion somewhere here. Okay, so a key is placed first, then shaft comes into picture. Whereas in this case, which is a single headed feather key, the give head, or sorry, this particular single head will come outside the hub, and through this circular hole a screw is fixed between the hub and the key. Okay, and coming to the double headed, the key 3D representation is going to be something like this. Means you find heads on both the sides. Okay, this is 2D representation. Now this becomes the 3D representation of a key. This is how it is going to be, and this is the width. Alright, this is one head number 1, and this is head number 2. This is called double headed key. Alright, this is how the representation is going to be. Similarly, when it is a Woodruff key is like a semicircular entity, something of this kind. And for this Woodruff key also, all the specifications are given, standard formulas are given. Accordingly you have to follow, you have to remember, and you have to draw. Okay, and Woodruff key also sit in, half of the portion will sit in shaft and half will sit in hub. Okay, this is how it is going to be. Try to go through the proportions, all the specifications, and formulas for taper, formulas for Woodruff are given. And whenever you consider parallel feather keys given, if those are given to you in the exam, you have to go with the proportions. Proportions in sense, D value will be given to you, W and thickness, T and W, you should remember from the tabular column given to you. Alright, this is how it is going to be. And other than these sunk keys and saddle keys, few other keys are also there, which are called a round key, splined key. Okay, a round key is one which is completely different from whatever the discussion we had just now. Round key is something different, where round key is used after placing the shaft inside. There won't be any keyway provided, there won't be a keyway. Keyway is not there for a round key. Okay, so after placing the shaft inside the hub, for example, if this is the hub portion, this is the shaft portion, let me share this. Okay, and draw the length. Just to make you understand, I am trying to represent 3-dimensionally, and this is how. But in this case a keyway is not provided, so what we'll try to do, drilling takes place in between the mating point of hub and the shaft. In between mating point of hub and the shaft, I'll show you how. Let us say this is a drilling point. Okay, so half of the drill bit is going to take in the hub and half in the shaft. So this drilling is up to a depth. Okay, now this particular round key will also have a taper section. It is not a linear like a cylinder, it is like a cone, somewhat like a cone. Okay, so there will be a taper section, material will be drilled, taken out, then a round key is fabricated, which is of different material, strong material than hub and the shaft, something of this kind. Okay, now this will be knocked inside, means completely different. Till now what we have seen, there will be a keyway provided and keys fabricated or manufactured and pulled inside hub and the shaft. Okay, now this is completely different. Shaft is inserted, then drilling is performed between shaft and the hub, and separate key is round key is developed, and which is hitted inside or pulled inside these two elements. That is the difference. Okay, similarly coming to the splined key, this is completely different. There won't be any keyway or key provided. Keyway is provided in the hub, but there won't be any key because the shaft itself contains splines of this kind. Let us say this is the shaft. Shaft is manufactured in such a way where already splines are provided. Spline number 1, spline number 2, 3, 4, 5. All the splines are already provided. So there are 5 splines. So 5 keyways are provided in the hub. Try to understand. Something of this kind. Okay, and let us say this is the hub. Now internal diameter is not circular, it is splined one, grooved one. Now we'll try to place the shaft directly inside. Okay, so all the splines will maintain some length. Okay, so there won't be any key provided. Directly splines are provided on the shaft. In such a way it is manufactured and placed inside. Okay, this is what it is how it is going to be. Okay, this is called a round key, this is called the spline key, which are other than saddle and sunk keys. I hope you got the basic information about key joints. Saddle and sunk keys are very much important to understand the basic logic about difference between hollow and flat, difference between feather keys, tapered keys and a woodruff key, all the differences. Okay, this is all for this particular lecture. Thank you for listening. If you find any difficulty in drawing, let me know through comments. Okay, thank you.